Are you planning on racing 70.3 Venice on the 5th of May? Well, if so, this video is for you because I'm going to go through the course in terms of key swim tips, bike tips, and run tips, and also some sort of key training sessions in the next kind of few weeks in your lead up to the race. But who am I? My name is Stephen Moody. I'm an IRONMAN U Certified coach. I have coached literally thousands of people to the start and finish lines of 70.3s around the world. And this is one of my series of videos where I talk through all you need to know to have a super race day experience. So let's get to it. Right, so we're going to talk swim course, bike course, run course. I'll talk through T1 and T2, well, the T1 and T2 considerations as well. Key training sessions, non-training prep, and a little bit of the giveaways at the end in terms of what will really help you get ready. So it's all about knowing the course and know your enemy. First off, Venice is a magnificent location. It is, look at that. This is your swim course. That you can see the Ironman boys in the background and all that, but it was last year it was pristine flat. The water is clear. There's very little wildlife in there from what my friends were telling me, but we are looking for a beautiful swim and start to the day. So how does that pan out though for you on race day? Now, this is the swim course, where this is your start point, so it's different to where you actually exit the swim. And some advice on this: expect a wetsuit and a beautiful swim. As we saw, it's in the water temperature is very normally wetsuit friendly, which always is good news for the beginners and nervous swimmers amongst us. For those new to 70.3 racing, Ironman no longer does a mass start where people all just, the hooter goes off and everybody runs in. To keep things safe and more controlled, what they do now is we call a seeded start. So when you arrive on race day, there will be corrals that will be set up at a certain time. So the times will be clearly indicated: under 30 minutes, under 35 minutes, under 40 minutes, etc. So make sure you put yourself in the corral that equates to the time you expect to finish your swimming. Do not think you're getting an advantage by putting yourself in a higher corral and avoiding kind of potential cutoffs. You're not. Your timing chip only works when you cross the start line here. You'll have a little beep. How that works in practice is you will have 4 or 5 Italian volunteers holding people back like that at the start. And what will go is after they start doing the main waves, the clock will go, a beep will sound, they'll lift up their arms and they'll let in 4 to 5 athletes at a time. And they'll stop, there'll be another 5-second break, and then the next. So everyone goes in a very controlled manner. So the key is to put yourself in the right swim corral. If you have only ever swam at 1.9K in 40 minutes, put yourself in the 40-minute corral. Otherwise, you'll put yourself in the position where you get swam over by stronger swimmers and it's an uncomfortable day. You don't want to ruin this. It's got a beautiful swim. This is one that's to just very much enjoy the day. Again, for beginners, the water is actually quite shallow all the way out, so most people will be able to stand from at most points. So that can also help the beginner's nerves. That's nice to know. Stick tight to the boys, as in don't get too far wide at them and all the rest. As I said, it's a simple enough course. You're out, you're up, and there's 2 turns, and then you're in. So, but you only got to add on this additional distance if you go too far away from the boys. It is a very nice course. The sun can rise up, so and it can get in your eyes. So what I do recommend is you get tinted goggles. That means it stops even if you're doing your breathing, bilateral breathing. You don't get the sun shining in your face, and it can cause a little bit of a headache. So tinted goggles are a recommendation here. Sighting points. When I talk about sighting points, sighting is where we actually look for something that we aim towards as we're swimming, and then we raise our head every 6 to 9 strokes or whatever what your sighting pattern is. And as long as you're heading towards that item and it's still right in front of you, like a buoy or like a what you call it, the black gate at the end here, it means you go in a straight line. So it is a simple enough swim, but what I would recommend sighting points are the main buoy here, and there'll be another big red buoy here. It's only going to be a short little turn back here, and then your final is you're going to have the big black arch, which is kind of signifies the swim exit. You're also swimming for the majority of it parallel to the shore. So again, as long as you're keeping that parallel to the shore, you're heading in the right direction. A bit of advice again, if you can draft as much as possible, drafting in 70.3 racing is 100% legal on the swim, not on the bike. And that's essentially where you swim close behind someone on their feet, on their hip, and all the rest. And they do a little bit of work for you by breaking the water tension. The more you get behind people, the more you get sucked along. It's a really clever tactic for 70.3 and Ironman racing. Another key tip is towards the end, you will have had a lovely swim and feel like a champ, but you'll also remember you will have been horizontal for 30 to 45 minutes. So when you're coming into the last 100 meters, from this turning point in, kick your legs a little bit more aggressively than you would have beforehand, because this has the benefit of getting more blood flow down to your legs, and then reduces the risk of getting that kind of wobbly feeling when people hop up. Also, another tip, when you're coming into the beach, make sure you sort of slowly get up, because you'll see too many people who will go, yeah, oh, I'm out of water, fantastic, let me get to my bike, stand up, all the blood drains, and they go, ooh, slowly ease yourself up and all the rest. The run to transition isn't that long, so you'll have plenty of time to get your bearings. But as I said, it is a beautiful swim course and it'll be a great start to the day. Okay, so we're into transition one. Now, as I said, it's a very packed transition, but it's compact. There's not a huge amount of running in it, like in Mallorca or in Italy, so it's actually shorter. So it should lead to speedy transitions as well. It's a single transition, as in your T1 is the same as your T2, which makes logistically a lot easier than other races as well. So what I would recommend as part of your pre-day recce the day before, you make sure that you find a very clear landmark that you will know when you're coming out of the water where you're going to find your bike, and then you also your transition bag. I'll talk about that in a second. Because as you can see, you'll be coming out. Now, it's nice and blue carpeted, so there's nothing to worry about in terms of underfoot, etc. Nicely clean and swept. But what you need to do as part of your prep work the night before is wherever you're racking your bike, you need to find out what your landmark is. This guy would have a great landmark. He's right in front of that parking sign. What he should do just before, just making sure it's comfortable, walk from the swim exit up where I'm going to go. Okay, I turn left here, and I'm right in front of right in front of the parking sign. That means he's going to have a smooth transition because he knows where he's going. Because remember, when you're coming out of the water, there'll be hundreds of other athletes. There'll be lots of adrenaline. You need to be cool, calm, and have a solid landmark just to make sure you don't do that run past. Where's my bike? Oh God, I thought I was the only Cervelo in town. Apparently not. So that's part of your recce. The other element, and the key part of 70.3 transitions as well, is you do need to follow Ironman specific transition rules. And in that, as I said, it's no longer like your domestic races where you are going to put everything beside your bike. Not the case. You need to have everything in separate bags. So for example, your blue bag will be your swim to bike bag. So therefore, that's where you will have your helmet, you'll have your additional race belt, your shades, etc., whatever you're going, and your bike cleats, etc. That will be in that blue bag, and you will see that you have to run past, pick that bag up, and then head to your get yourself set up, pick up your bike, and then bike out. Now, the transition bags itself, it frightens a lot of newbies, and it's a little bit of a head melt if it's the first time. But I do have a specific video that goes through what goes into transition bags and why it goes in, and other recommendations. I talk a little bit about personal need bags as well in that video. So make sure you check that out in the comments below. But overall, it is a short, quick transition. It's not a lot. I'm not going to take a huge amount of time, and get in, get out. You've got a great bike ahead of you. Okay, guys, by the way, hopefully this is useful. If it is, please smash that subscribe button because I do other videos on training peaks, Ironman training, Garmin, etc. All that will help you become a faster triathlete. And I'm really hoping to grow the channel by these videos and others. So please make hit that subscribe button if it's been useful. Appreciate it. Okay, back onto what is also going to be a highlight of your day in terms of the 70.3 course. It is a super fast bike course. It is a one loop 90k loop. But there are some caveats. The road surfaces are pristinely smooth, but there's some elements that you need to take into account that can be quite hazardous on the day, right? There are some particularly technical turns. As you can see, you come out of transition here. Um, there we are. And then you're looking at kind of sharp, kind of 180 turns here. There's some sharp turns here. And again, particularly up here at the one of the aid stations up here as well. That's around the 50 kilometer mark. And down here around the 70-kilometer mark. So there are some sharp technical turns. Take your time going into these. You will build up a huge amount of average speed here, here on the roads, and it's a very aero friendly course. But as I said, when there are times to slow down, ease off. Just make sure you get down. You will get to the power, you get to your power and average speed again because of the smoothness of the roads. But don't try to be a hero going to a turn. There were a number of bike crashes last year. We just don't want that to happen. There's some other nuances, as I said. There's these short, these little man-made bridges that they go over junctions. They can be short and sharp, so do be aware of them. So whilst the whole thing is pancake flat, you do get these little bumps, shall we call it, the odd time in the course. So just be ready for them. And again, come off the bars, slow down the brakes, just put a bit of power down and power over them. They're not going to burn your legs, they're not going to burn any matches, but just don't try to go at them 100 miles an hour on the aero bars. That's how some people became a cropper. There will be drafting. It's, as I said, it's a fast course. There's no hills really to break up any packs. So try to keep your nose clean. Drafting is when there's your bikes are sitting on those wheels and getting an aerodynamic benefit. Try to keep your nose clean in this. There are draft marshals going out. You don't want to end up with a penalty in the penalty tent. But it will be difficult on the day, just to the nature of the course, that people will be pouring onto the course and it's flat and fast and the packs do form. If you can just keep out of them as much as possible. Okay. Other items, there are some other like manhole covers that are on the way and the roundabouts. Be careful of these, as in, so yes, it's very easy to be staring at your Garmin, marveling, go, wow, look at that average speed, look at that average kind of watts. But you've got to be situation aware, especially as I said, it will be a very full-on course. There'll be lots of bikes, and there are kind of the manhole covers come up. Just keep an eye on them. You've got to be careful, especially you're going to be on the aero bars for I'd say 90% of this course. Aid stations, this is what you'll have. You'll have water, Gatorade, Red Bull, bars, fruit, bananas, standard kind of Ironman fare. There's not a huge amount from what I can from based on last year's map, as in we only had 3 aid stations, one at 15k, one at 50k, and one around 75k. So again, with Ironman aid stations as well, this is all about communication and awareness, because as I said, there'll be lots of bikes flying in and people will be going at high speeds. So when you know that you've worked out your hydration and nutrition strategy on the bike, I talk about that in a couple of slides, that you're aware that, okay, I'm going to carry whatever, enough to get me through to the aid station 2. I'll need to pick up a bottle. I'll need to pick up, some gels there. Have that in mind. And also be aware that, okay, so right, it's coming up at 50k, so I need to get myself ready. I'll sort of I'll empty the bottle, my bottle, make sure it's ready to get chucked at the aid station. And then it's all about planning and communication and execution. But what happens is the aid stations will be lined up. There will be the water table, there will be the Gatorade, there'll be the Red Bull, there'll be the others, and they'll line up. The first thing you'll come to is what they call a trash zone. That's where you can chuck a bottle. And if you do it anywhere else in the course, you risk a DQ. So don't do anything daft and throw the bottle on this beautiful course. Aside from that trash zone, chuck the bottle. Then you're coming in. Talk to your riders about, I'm going to the aid station. I'm pulling in. Give it some time so you're not suddenly cutting across someone. And then when you're coming up, if you're looking for a water, Gatorade, whatever you know, I've worked out your nutrition strategy and hydration strategy. Make eye contact with a volunteer and talk to them. Point water for me, and then slow down, as in control the bike, gently feather the brakes, and grab and go at that stage. So what you don't want to do is kind of the volunteer doesn't know you're going for his bottle or their bottle, and then you could knock it out of hands. Just slow everything down, communicate, and then once you've got it, put it into the bottle cage, fill up your front mounted hydration system, whatever you're using, and then again communicate. I'm coming out, and all the rest, because you're going into the flow of traffic of fast moving cyclists. Take your time. Do not do anything rash and all the rest, because there will be bottles dropped. There'll be pieces of food dropped. This is the time. This is one of the high risk areas when you're trying to get fuel on board. So take it slow, take it easy. Okay. So that is, as I said, it's a fast course, as in do expect a PB if you fuel right, and also you pace right, and you stay aero as much as possible. Back into T2, as I said, now remember the other part of your recce is, remember to walk from the other side of the course when you're coming through the bike in, because you need to know running where I'm going to go to the bike in. So let's say our friend has still got his he has to drop off his bike where he picked it up, so he knows he's coming in here and he's running down here, so, and he's dropping his bike there. You need to do similar. You need to find your landmark, you need to write it down, put it in your race strategy the night before so you can refresh, take a picture, just make sure you're comfortable, you know where you're going. You will this time you're now looking for your red bag, which is where you're going from your bike to run. And in that you'll take out your runners, your shades, arm coolers, or whatever you want. Some people put on kind of additional race belts with Morton gels, etc. I'm not a fan of that, and I'll tell you why in kind of as we talk a little bit on that. Again, the video in the comments below shows you what you call it, what goes into the red bag. And then we're out onto the run. The run, again, can you tell them? Like, oh, by the way, I am racing this race and I'm really excited because the feedback I got from some of my athletes last year was epic. That's why I signed up. So the run itself is also is pretty a very fast-paced course. It is 3 loops, very flat. It is there's a couple of things to note, by the way. When you're on the inside track, on this kind of side, that's all shaded, right? When you're inside a block in. But when you're on the outside, it's more exposed to the sun. So you will need sun visors, you will need kind of arm coolers, etc. if it's going to be hot, and sun cream, etc. So what I recommend for people who are doing their first 70.3, that it can be a bit daunting that, you know, you've had a smashing bike, you're thinking, wow, I'm on such for a PB here, if I can just hold the run together, but it's still a half marathon. So don't think of it like that. Think of it as a 3 lap, 7K bike, and then it helps you pace it out and break it down a little bit. The first one you will be feeling like a champion. You're still kind of licking your lips at your bike split, going, "Whoa, yes, I've never done that before." And then you sort of go, "Wow, okay, keep going, hold it back, conserve yourself, because you have run the risk of actually going out too hot and actually blowing up." You should have fueled very well for the run on the bike. Again, I'll talk about this in a slide later on. But it's also key to fuel as on the run and also hydrate, because it will be getting hot at this stage. Second loop is when you start getting into your rhythm, when you start hitting your race pace figures that you would have held in your long runs and your builds phase, on your bricks, etc. And the third There's no other way of saying it. It sucks. As in, yes, you're feeling fairly elated. You know you're nearly there, but your legs are tired. You're been on this course 4, 5, 6 hours plus at this stage. You need to close it out. So the last loop is always sucking. So this is where you need to pull in your kind of all your mental strategies, your visualization. Think about where the finish line, your dedications. Who are you doing this for? Are you doing it for a personal challenge, a memory of a loved one? Are you doing it to just inspire your kids? Think of them, think of how proud they will be. So because that at this stage it becomes more mental than a physical. You need not walk or not, you need to keep going every step forward closer to the finish line. Mantras, powerful statements that will snap you back in. Sort of, was it a slowly catchy next person? Was it slow and steady wins the race? Whatever you need to say to actually just keep your mind on the task at hand, to keep moving forward. This is where it's key. Aid stations, it's important to fuel. They're every kind of 2 kilometers. So you're never, that's for me, you don't really need to carry amount of fuel because they're very well stocked. There'd be bananas, energy bars, Morton gels, and God knows those things are expensive. So why bring your own? As in, let's take some money back from Ironman. So I always try to eat my fill at the aid stations. I never miss it, even if it is a case of you're just getting a water over your head to keep the core temperature down, or in the last couple of laps you're trying to get some board, some Red Bull or Coke, whatever is going to give you your power boost. Use the aid stations. Pace we've talked about, and then just freed off the crowd energy. It's a great crowd. It's just at the start of their kind of tour season, so lots of people are out and all the rest, and they're a little bit baffled by what's going on, but they'll get into it. It overall is an absolutely going to be an epic race. So please just sort of take on board the hints. Let's talk a little bit about the kind of training I would recommend if you haven't done so far that can really help you not only get to this superb venue, but get in such shape you're going to definitely smash your PB. Oh, have your finish line moves ready. There's some cool pictures ready, and they'll have to replace them with the wedding pictures, confirmation pictures, pictures of the dog, whatever. But you just need to get a good one. Training course for this, some key sessions based on how obviously I've described what the course is. So 4 weeks out, it's a sea swim. Bit of a no-brainer, but you've got to get in the ocean. You've got to get used to in your wetsuit. I've got to get into what it feels like with the salt in your mouth, etc. With swimming in a group. Bring out your pals. Make sure it's all safe. Work on your sighting as described and your drafting. Swimming in a pack. It will set you up very nicely for race day. Bike-wise, you got to start hitting some key milestone distances of around 90 to 100k the last 3 to 4 weeks. These are your kind of peak bikes. You'll have race pace intervals in them where you're getting down on the aero bars. As I said, it's flat fast, but it's going to be no use to you if you have not practiced staying in the aero position. Because the more you can stay in the aero position, the more what you call a high aerodynamic and minimize your frontal resistance, and the faster you go overall. There's no hills in this course, but as I said, if you are live in a hilly area, hill work can turn into power and speed on the day. It means you're building up those uber pumper cycle muscles, and then that will turn into raw power on a flat in the day, which we know Venice is all about. Fine tune your nutrition and your hydration strategies. Talk a little bit about that in the next slide. Test your equipment. Are you going to be using a deep rimmed wheel? Make sure you try that beforehand. What how are you transporting your food? How are you going to what's your hydration strategy, rear bottle holder, etc. By the way, and another tip on that, when you're coming onto the ramps as well, those can actually kind of jolt out bottles. So make sure when you're doing your setup, they have everything nicely securely tied down. That's a key thing for Venice. A lot of people lost bike computers, rear bottles, etc., spares. Also means it more hazardous for us guys because they're on the floor and we need to be aware. Run wise, we're talking, you've got to be hitting kind of the long distance runs, got to be around 18k, 20k if you want to really push it to the limit. And this will have a race pace elements in it where you're kind of dialing in your zone work, dialing in what pace you want to hit on the day. You also should be hitting a brick of around 3 to 4 off that long bike as well, just to get used to those jelly legs, just to make sure that you can actually just hold that pace. Work out your hydration and your strategy, and making sure that you know when you'll how you're going to pick up food on the way, and how you're going to get used to getting the water on board, etc. Okay, race day nutrition. As I said, this is the topic in itself, and I have another video on it. So essentially, you need to work out what sort of calorie intake you're going to need, how you're going to get those calories on board, how you're going to carry those calories on board, how you're going to incorporate the aid stations, how you're going to keep your track on making sure that you actually get all the food on board, and don't forget things like you're going to, as I said, it's going to be fat. The bike's going to be fast. You're going to be having an epic ride. You don't want to be looking down and an hour into the ride and going, oh God, I haven't eaten anything. I'm feeling kind of hungry. You got to keep on top of your fueling beforehand. So I talk about all how to do that in terms of how to set up your Garmin alerts, etc. in the video in the comments below. A bit too much to kind of go through in here. The video will go down too long. But all you need to know in that video. Enjoy. Equipment and apparel. What would I recommend? Swim. It's going to be wetsuit swim. Goggles, as I've mentioned, tinted goggles. Swim hat. You will have an Ironman swim hat, but bring your own, because what I find is you can use two swim hats, one underneath it to put on your kind of non-Ironman hat, an Ironman swim cap. Then you use your goggles on, and then you put the Ironman swim cap over that. It secures the goggles in case you get a bang. And it also keeps your head a bit warm, which I don't think would be a big issue with the water temperature. Tri-suit, or a full change into a dry cycling clothes or dry kind of running clothes. This is personal preference, and there is a case of there's a speed element here, and there's a comfort element here. I talk a little bit about a video of what your options are. There's actually 3 options. So I talk about in the video below, and then make your call, as in if it's your first one, go comfort. If it's you're looking for a PB, go speed, that'd be tri-suit. The other items that I'd recommend swim-wise are the neck guard or body glide. Neck guard is something that will keep around your neck, which I really value to stop preventing wetsuit chafing. You don't want that kind of red, kind of raw rash because your wetsuit is rubbing the back of your neck. There's a video and a link in the comments below to get that. Body glide, again, you can use that instead, but also I put this on my arms and my legs. It helps the wetsuit come off a lot quicker. Which you want, again, a speedy transition. Bike, road bike or TT bike, it's definitely a TT course. If you only have a road bike, I would consider checking out clip-on aero bars. We can put them on the front and give you the chance to be more aero. It's gonna save you some time. Helmet, a good aero helmet to be very important. Shades, cycle shoes and socks. Definitely bring socks. It's going to be fast, but as I said, don't sacrifice a bit of discomfort for 10-15 seconds putting a pair of dry socks on at a 70.3 level. Hydration, nutrition setup, and rain and wind jacket. Venice can get rainy and all the rest, so don't actually just assume it's going to be perfect weather. We don't know yet. And they had a really good day last year, but the weeks preceding that, it had absolutely flooded the place. So just bring spares, as I said, it can go in your blue bag, and you don't need it. And you just better to be looking at it rather than looking for it. Just a bit of advice. Runners and Loctite laces. For those who don't know what Loctite laces are, they essentially turn your runners into a pair of kind of slip-ons, so you save 20 to 30 seconds in terms of actually tying your laces. More important, kind of shorter distance races. But hey, listen, we'll take the win. Hat, visor, shades. Again, second pair of socks for T2. Just again, you don't want blisters on the run. Another thing that will scupper you. So dry your feet, get your dry socks on. You'll thank yourself. You'll say it for the 20-30 seconds investment to putting them on could possibly save you 5-10 minutes if you avoid blisters. Nutrition, as I've talked about, for me, I won't. I'm taking my money out of Ironman. Post race, change of clothes, ways of contacting family and friends, etc. Again, don't forget the socks. All right. Okay. So we're near, okay, so we now know what the race is about. We know how to train for it, but now there's also the other elements. I mean, what we're going to do, what we're going to prepare. Um, in the next couple of weeks, sorry, kind of especially in the last month or so, you should really have nailed down all your final travel prep, where you're staying, verify your flight details, your transfer details, how you're getting from the airport to the Venice. Actually, the airport transfers are very simple. It's only 30 minutes away. Um, but make sure you've got that booking correctly. I know your friend said he's going to do it. Just get him to share the details. I have turned up to face with training pals, and some guys got the wrong hotel location, and it was a mess. Eliminate the stress now. Plan out your arrival time and key events. When do you need to register? When do you need to check in your bike? What time is your wave start, etc. Write it all down. You will have been slavishly following your plan for the last was it 6 months plus? Don't leave things to chance now. Book a bike service prior to travel after your last long bike with your local bike store, just to make sure you don't have any problems on the day. You don't want to have any sort of last minute surprises that you find out your ball bearings are gone or your chain needs replacing, etc. Let the experts sort of sort that out. Know what you need to pack. How are you getting your bike there? Are you bringing a bike box? Are you going with the ETI, or so was it the um, or teamtruck.eu, who are a great option and a partner for ourselves. I have was it a discount coupon in the comments below as well. If just essentially, if you're not comfortable transporting a bike, like unpacking it, etc., the bike transport options are there as well. Packing checklists. Okay, you need separate lists for what you're swimming, your biking, your running, and all the other bits. Your ID code, your race license, chargers, suntan lotion, training gear for the shakeout sessions beforehand, etc. Oh, a lot to remember, but don't worry, we've got you covered. There's a video below that also outlines all the things you need to pack and includes a very, very handy downloadable checklist where you can check it off. So, oh yes, Apple AirTags. If you are bringing your bike in a bike box, invest in one of these lads because you can put them on your beloved bike and you'll know exactly where it is. It saved my bike in Florida because some of the Aer Lingus guys were going, no, I didn't make the flight, and said, well, actually, no, here's my tracker on my app, and it's telling me that the bike's over there. And he went, oh, okay. So I found my bike. So Apple AirTags, big fan. Okay, so guys, that's all I have for the moment in terms of I will have further videos in terms of when they tie down the actual the race schedule and other further details about the course. So make sure you stay tuned. Please do subscribe. Make sure that you like the video, and it'll help me grow my channel and it'll help you become a faster athlete. And I hope to see you in Venice as we will, myself and a couple of my club mates are racing. And it'll be, as I said, a great day out. Okay. So enjoy the last few weeks, the last 2 blocks of your training, and nearly there. Time to dial in those numbers, time to smash those sessions, and we'll have an absolute epic race, and hopefully a couple of beers afterwards.